Happy Thursday, everybody. It is 12 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Hi, I am Tammy with GROW Nebraska, and welcome to May's third Thursday with Judy Pederson. I'll let Judy Pederson introduce herself shortly, but in the meantime, I have just a couple of housekeeping items. First, please mark your calendar for next year's Market Tech Conference in 2020. If you are fortunate enough to be in attendance this year, you'll know exactly why we're telling people to register now. We are expecting a sellout this year, so get in on early bird registration. It is available at markettechconference.com. Today's training was brought to you in part by REAP. REAP is a big supporter of GROW, and we greatly appreciate their partnership. REAP offers a lot of services such as financing, like microloans, business training such as QuickBooks, networking, and so much more. And then this month's featured GROW Nebraska member is Nature's Finds and Designs out of Omaha. They've been a proud member since 2002. And here's a picture of some of their apparel that they offer, from hats and sun visors to t-shirts, long sleeves, and more. Their little touch of bling will catch your eye, and be sure you ask them about personalization. They made some awesome GROW Nebraska shirts for this year's Market Tech that definitely got everyone's attention. So now it is time for the Woman of the Hour, so I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I will let Judy take over. This is going to be a casual webinar today, so if you have any questions while Judy is presenting, raise your hand. Or put it in the chat and direct it to me or the group, and we'll get it answered as Judy is discussing the topic. We'll also have time available at the end for a Q&A time. So if you want to send in your questions, we can hold them to the end as well. So, okay, Judy, I will let you take it away.
Today I really wanted to talk about the power of, the revenue power of personalization. There's so many opportunities out there for your customers, and yet what really comes back almost all the time is if they feel welcome, if they feel appreciated, if they feel like you know them, and that really can drive revenue to your business, and it can keep them coming back over and over. The first thing, though, is you have to be true to yourself and be genuine. And the saying is people do business with people, and that really is true. But if you try to be something you aren't, or you try to present your business as something that it isn't, you're going to have a hard time in the long run with keeping up that image, or staying disciplined to the things that you decide you're going to do to interact with your customers. So really focus on being who you are, being true to yourself, and remember that you are a person and you are working with other people, not just their business as a business, but that you're really working with them as a person. Customers expect now that you're going to understand what they need. You're going to provide relevant opportunities, products and services for them, that you'll have the solution. They often don't even pay attention to the way the business is what the business is, or where they're located, or whatever, as long as you can communicate in a meaningful and pleasing way. One of the best ways to do that is to know them by name. It sounds really simple, and I know a lot of GROW Nebraska members are from smaller communities and things. And even if you're in a large community, you may have a pretty, circle of businesses and customers and friends around you. But it really does make a difference if you call someone by name. And the thing that I always tell my employees, if you don't know their name, ask. But it's important that you show them that they are that important to you, that you're going to ask them their name and you're going to remember it. It's the reason why companies like Starbucks put so much emphasis onto knowing and calling their customers by name, and especially those who are loyal. Another coffee place in North Platte that does that really well is Scooters, and they get to know their customers so well in the morning. When I stop in there, They can, they're just greeting people by name through the drive-through. And I know that that keeps those people coming back because they know they're valued, and then what they want is remembered and valued. Research shows that major brain activation occurs when participants or customers hear their own names being called. They feel more valued, the experience is more memorable, and 68% of customers will stop shopping at a business if they feel the business is indifferent towards them. So it really is important that you extend that courtesy to them, to know them by name. Another thing that's important is to return calls and emails promptly. We actually get a number of new customers because other of our competitors may not do this. And so we really strive to return calls right away, to answer emails quickly, even if it's just to say to someone, I'll get back to you shortly with that estimate, or you may not have the answer immediately at that moment, but just let them know that you saw that they emailed, that it was important to you, and give them a time frame on when you're going to respond. Another thing that's important is to listen and don't interrupt. It's often easy when a customer may call, you're busy, you're in a hurry, you think you know what they need, but you may just interrupt and may miss something important, or you may leave a really bad impression for them. We were working today with a customer and called for a certain person and wasn't able to reach her. The employee that she works with didn't want to listen to what we had to say. And you never know when someone's going to be your customer. So you really want to to listen and just not interrupt.
Hey Judy, we do have a question that came in.
Sure.
For a business that works with a lot of different customers and are just getting their feet wet with remembering their names and identifying what makes them unique, do you have any tips for how you can do this personalization with knowing them by name? How can we remember that?
Yeah, do you get to see them at all, or do you just know them from phone or email? Because sometimes that is more difficult if you can't even associate a face with.
Sure, I think this person does both.
Okay. Yeah, we have a customer that has actually over 1,000 members or employees. And that is really difficult. I think it's over time, but I also think that it's really important to just say, it's just to tell them, it's important to me that I learn your name and know who you are. It's a lot of different employees. It may take me a little bit, but it's important to me. If you can even associate, maybe start a conversation with them that will help you associate something they do or something that's important to them. Maybe they have children the same age, or they may really like the Bears football team or something like that can kind of help you start to have that association. But I think often it's just engaging in a conversation that continues to help you get to know them well enough that that you can present that feeling of at least something about them, and can associate with the name.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
There's one other statistic I wanted to share was a recent report shows that 66% of consumers believe customer service is the biggest spending motivator. And I mean, that's a huge amount. So just some simple things can really make a difference in your customers staying loyal to you, and actually doing business with you and repeat. I mean, that's what we're all in business for, is to have those customers continue to come back. It's really important that you understand what your customer does. And technology changes. GROW does a fabulous job of letting us know what the next new technology is and how we should use it, and what we should do, and providing all of that training. But if we really don't understand what our customers do, then we aren't going to be able to interact with them on a personal level. So one thing that really helps me a lot is I do business with as many of my customers as I can. And that really helps me because when I'm in their business, I see how they do business. I see for me, it's print products. I see their print products. Maybe when I'm walking in the door, I realize that their window signage is looking pretty shabby and coming loose. Or I see that their hours have changed and they haven't updated their window or their door with that information. So it really helps if you can do business with your customers to just gain that additional knowledge of what they do. And the same thing is really true with your nonprofits. So if you have a lot of nonprofit customers, which we have a lot of nonprofits, and so we try as much as we can to volunteer with them, again, just to really learn about what their needs are. And so when they have an event coming up, we know right away how we can respond to them. We can give them a call and say, last year we did your posters, and we know you've got an event coming up in a couple of months. Let's get started on this right away. So it really does help if you can spend some time with them not necessarily in your office, in order to really get to know them well.
That's a great tip.
The customer experience is so important. And to recognize and reward your loyal customers, we try at least once a year to do, a Christmas. We'll send out Christmas cards and we'll say, you know what, you've been just an awesome customer all year long, and we'd love to offer you 10% off, or, whatever, kind of idea that we can come up with. But, and then some people will say, oh, you're just giving up money. But really, we're just wanting to show that they matter to us, and we know that they have choices, and we know that they have options, but we just really appreciate them, and we want them to know that we do. Maybe you can do it in a small way. And if you're a coffee shop, maybe just on a random day, your customer that comes in daily walks in, you can say, we just love that you come in to see us every day, and today your coffee's on us. Or just finding those ways to really let your customers know that they are very valuable to you, and it's not just the money that they pay you, but that really as a person they're valuable to you. Handwritten notes. One thing that's really becoming kind of the thing right now is personalized stationery and note cards. And I think part of it is because as there's more or less mail because of technology, that printed item is becoming that much more special when you receive it. And people know it takes time. I can probably send a quick email off to someone in 10 to 15 seconds. But if I need to write them a note, it's probably going to take me 2 or 3 minutes at least. And so they know that they were valuable enough to me that I took the time to write them out a note and to mail it. Costs me a little bit more. So the good thing on their side is your brain reacts differently to a print item. So they're holding that in their hand, and their brain actually reacts differently to that than seeing me just send them a quick thanks on an email. So it has a larger impact in that way as well. I would recommend that you keep anything, if you want to do the personalized stationery or the note cards or whatever, keep them really handy. It's always easy to think, oh, you know what, in a little bit I'm going to send that customer a happy birthday, or just saw your name in the paper, congratulations on your promotion or whatever. And then all of a sudden you realize that the day's over and gone, and you haven't done that, you kind of missed your opportunity. So keep those close by so that you can do that really quickly. You reward your customers for valuable feedback, and not just something that was good. I had a customer one time call me and say, you know, your delivery driver just cut me off in traffic. And so I just talked to my delivery, he was a nice young man. I just talked to him and said, you know, remember, you're running around in a car with the phone number really large. So, you know, you kind of want to drive carefully. You're representing our business. And so whatever that information is that's coming back to you, you know, you really want to reward the customer and say, thank you for caring enough about my business that you would share with me, you know, your thoughts or you know, some experience that you had. Also reward your customers who recommend your services. We have several customers who will send note cards out saying thanks. You can also do something like maybe you do a coffee card or something that send out a $5 gift card for coffee or something to your customers who recommend you. That recommendation is so powerful. And of course, that's, you know, what social media is built on. So having your customer who will say to the next person, you know what, you really have got to go do business with Judy, because, you know, she just does a great job, just did a great job on our posters, and I know you got, you know, you need posters coming up. So chances are very likely they will come in, and that's just a really important thing. So remember to reward those customers who will do that. Resolve any problems or issues that you have or that a customer has. Resolve those really quickly. I think that's one thing that shows a customer that they're valued, is if they have a problem or an issue and you can say, you know what, I'll give you 25% off of the next order, or you know, we'll redo this for you, whatever that solution is. Make sure that you come up with that as quickly as possible, so that, again, that customer knows they're very important to you, and they're going to come back. That's another way that we get new customers, is if our competition won't help them out, the next time they don't come to them because they had that issue and it didn't get resolved, and so they're just going to go to someone, the next person, their next business. Kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but really it's all about letting them talk, ask questions, and then really listen. That's the best way to show your customer that what they're saying is important, what they're needing is important. People like to share what they're doing. They like to talk about if they've got a new service or a new product themselves, or they're going into business or whatever that is. They like to share that. And by listening and really listening to what they're saying, then you can pick up on how you're going to be able to help them and what you're going to be able to do for them. A great book is The Art of Small Talk. And I was fortunate enough to hear Deborah Fine, who's the author, speak twice. And it really, really left an impression on me. You know, she said we all do the typical things, you know, where do you work, or how's your husband, or those kinds of things. And you may say, well, where do you work? Well, they may have just lost their job, or, you know, something isn't going right. So trying to engage them in small talk a different way. What's your hobby? You know, do you like gardening? Just things that are more innocent and more, you know, don't leave you in those awkward situations, but also will get them then to start talking personally with you and sharing personally, so that you can gain that connection and engagement. Then the next time that they're in your business, or that you have the opportunity to contact them, maybe at the store or something, you see them, you can ask them about that on something that they've shared with you. And that will just, again, let them know that they're really important. But I would really recommend getting that book. It's a small book, doesn't take long to read, but it really has some helpful ideas and information about, you know, how to really engage people in a way that isn't going to be upsetting to them. I keep putting listen in there, and I think it's because it's also something I need to work on, but it is so very important when you are actually working with a customer or a prospect. It's just so easy to jump in and try to solve their problem right away, or you think you know what they need. And the other problem you can run into is maybe you have a product that you really want to sell, and so you're more focused on that product you want to sell than if that really is the right product for what the customer needs or wants. Once you have really listened to what they're needing and what their goals are, then you can start to educate. You can talk with them about the products you have and see, you know, how those will fit together with their needs or the services. You can engage with them. Consider doing like a customer loyalty program. 80% of customers are more likely to continue doing business with brands that offer loyalty programs. And so that's a really good way to get your customers engaged with your business and keeping them with you and staying with you. 73% of loyalty program members are more likely to recommend brands with a good loyalty program. So again, getting that referral, which is so valuable and so important. This is one way to really kind of solidify that relationship with your customers. Sometimes when we create a product or a service, we think about that there's just going to be this mass group of people that are going to want that. And we kind of forget that we really need to start with just that one person and think about how would we market to just that one person, and what would be the most creative way we could do that? What kind of conversation would we have? How would we start that communication with just that one person? And I think that really helps us to, again, keep the customer then feeling like they're important and that it's a personal communication. But I know I get really caught up in that, of thinking that we're going to create this thing and it's just going to work for everybody, and I kind of forget to just isolate down on what's that one customer that I have and how would I be able to help them best. If the customers don't trust you, they really are not going to stay loyal to you. And so it's something that is really important and very valuable, and it does take time. And they may like you first, and that's okay. They may not feel really comfortable initially with moving a lot of business to your company or to your business, but you know, once you work hard to establish that, it will happen. I know in our business, I had a friend who had a comparable business to mine, and she printed some tickets to an event for a customer. And one of her employees was overheard telling someone, well, it's okay, we'll just print a few more tickets and then we can get in for free. And I think it took her a long time to repair that relationship with that customer, because they no longer trusted that she was really watching what was happening in her business. And so I think that's one thing is really important, is to gain their trust and then make sure that you don't abuse that. Again, like I said, I was going to have listen in here a lot because of how important it is. If you really do listen and ask them about what their customers about what is their goal, what are they really hoping to accomplish? Maybe it's their goal for the year, maybe it's an upcoming project, maybe they're looking at holiday sales. You know, what really is their goal that they want to accomplish with the project they've come to you about, and and that's a good way to get them into a dialogue again. Don't forget to focus on the relevancy of what they're doing, and it comes back to that listening versus selling. You may have a product that you think is great, but it really isn't the right product for them, and so instead of just trying to sell them into something, make sure that it's the product that they want and the product that actually will help them accomplish what they're wanting to do. Again, people do business with people. And so if you treat your customers and prospects like VIPs at every touch point, it really will help to solidify those relationships. Doing things like maybe having an after hours event for your special customers, serve appetizers or beverages, offer a discount, just finding those different things that your business does. Maybe you do, maybe you sell gifts, or you sell, have a retail store, and maybe you could offer free gift wrapping, just different things that may help to have your customers really understand and feel like they're very important to you, and that you recognize how important they are to you. Doing a spotlight event, or a spotlight for your customers. Maybe you can highlight them on Facebook, put a testimonial on your website, just different things like that your customers may have something that is going on or upcoming, and it gives them the chance to have someone else tell their story, so that they don't necessarily have to do all of that, but again, just shows them that they are really important to you and keeps that loyalty happening. Yeah, I can't get back, or can't stress enough just again, that personal touch, and just trying to find that way to keep them engaged. And this is not just for how it responds to your customers, but also to your internal customers, which are your employees. If they know that your business really values the customer, they will have a different sense of your business. Years ago, when I worked in banking, we were taught to smile when we answered the phone. And I always thought that was kind of the funniest thing ever, to do that, because you're obviously not on a video, you're just on a phone. But it really does make a difference. It makes a difference in how your voice sounds. It makes a difference in your attitude when you answer the phone. Sometimes people aren't always as pleasant as you would like them to be on the other line. And if you start off with a smile in your voice and a good attitude, you sound like you like working where you're working, all of that makes a difference. So I think visiting with our employees and talking with them about how important that person is that's on the other line, and how they can really communicate in a very friendly way is really important. We always encourage our employees to volunteer and to look at those nonprofits that we have and work with them, or work with others that aren't our customers, and just show them that our business finds their agency, their entity, to be really important to the community, and the things that they can do are important to the community. And if we can strengthen our communities, we can strengthen our businesses. So letting the employees have time to volunteer as much as you can, I think, is really important back to our customers or our prospects. And it just also gives the employees a feeling of doing something good, and that they're valued also. We also encourage them to do business personally with our customers. Again, that helps them to know what that customer really is like, but it also, or needs, but it also gives them kind of that feeling of, we're all in this together. And so when those customers do come in, they know them, and they can feel good about working with them, and again engage with them a little bit more personally as well. We talk a lot about algorithms and automation, and what's Facebook doing this time, and what aren't they, and all of that. So it's an ever-changing world, but with personalization and good customer service, it's a lot of work, and you really have to put in that effort. It takes time. It may take a change in habits or policies in your own business, but that really is the key to keeping those customers coming back and winning those prospects that may have had a really poor experience at another one of your competitors, and you can really show them that your business is different, and that they're going to be the focus of your employees and yourself, as they continue to do business with you. Again, I hate to say this because GROW's so amazing at technology, and so I don't want anybody to think that it's not important, because it is very important. But you really need to focus on human emotions, on what your customers and prospects are interested in, so that you sound genuine when you do any social media or any conversations with them, any communications. So instead of just thinking, oh, I didn't post on social media today, or spending some time posting that took you away from some good customer communication and interaction, remember that people really want to know that you care about them as a person, and you care about their business, you care about their success, and that's what you're going to put first in your day-to-day work and your business. So are there any other questions or anything else, thoughts that someone might have?
Thanks, Judy. Yeah, at this time we will open it up for questions. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to ask, or type it in the chat. Those were some great tips. And do you have any tips on how you can make, say, if you also contact someone through maybe an email, how you can make it more personal?
Sure. I have a signature on my email, but sometimes I feel like that's really kind of cold. And so, especially if I'm, really wanting to sound more personal, I will just sign my name above that. I may start off with, I hope you're having a really great day. To have a great weekend, something like that again tries to set a different tone for the email. I know sometimes when I write an email and I go back and read it later, I'm like, oh my goodness, that person probably thought I was furious. So it's just, you can just get so caught up in just the details of the day and kind of forget to be personal. But I would just suggest starting off with a greeting, instead of just starting in with what you need. Maybe say, good morning, Cammie, I hope you had a great weekend. Something like that really sets that tone in a positive way.
Yeah, okay, that's really helpful. And then we did have a question come in that addresses those personalized stationaries that you were talking about. Do you encourage your employees or set a time frame for yourself on how long you should wait before you send it? Do you give your goal of sending it in the same week, the same day? What does that look like?
Yeah, for me, if I don't do it right away, I don't get it done. And so I really encourage my employees to send it right away. just a thank you. Sometimes we'll put a thank you in if we're delivering some products to a customer. Just, drop a thank you card in there and say, we just really like working with you. Thanks so much for being our customer. So I would say really as soon as you can, unless you have a better memory than me, because otherwise it may just fall off the radar completely and you don't do it.
Yep, especially with the busyness of the hustle and bustle of the world.
Yes.
And then I have another question for you. The book that you addressed with The Art of Small Talk, does that address someone who maybe feels awkward starting that up and what that looks like?
Yes, it does. She does a really good job with that and gives some really specific examples of how you can start those conversations. And for me, because it's just really ingrained in me to say, oh, where do you work? I had to really practice starting the conversations differently. So it's not necessarily easy at first, and it's something you have to consciously try to do different, but it really does make a difference, and it really does give the opportunity to have a different level of engagement, because you can bring out then right away something that they feel good about instead of maybe what comes out as a negative that you didn't intend for it to. But she does do a really good job of giving specific examples.
Awesome. Yeah, being in a mindful set when you are interacting with the customer. I guess I'll just pause for a few more minutes to see if there's any other questions. Any final thoughts before I wrap it up, Judy?
I just think it actually makes the day more fun when you do interact in a personal way with your customers and think of them as people. We all have a lot of stresses in our day, and we have a lot of different ways that we're pulled. But for me, the most rewarding times are when a customer comes in and we have a really good conversation about what they're doing in their business, and then talk some about their personal life too, or they can share what happened with their last project and how well it went, and so for me, that's really what the highlights of my day is when I really can do that, and it takes practice, because I can almost feel like the customer's interrupting me instead of just being grateful for having them. But it really does make the day go better just to think about the personal relationships and how you can actually strengthen those, and the things you can do. It's actually makes it more fun. So I would really encourage you to just think about different things that fit well with your own business, and how you might do that. Start something for the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe, that you're going to do a few things different, and just see how that impacts your customer engagement, and then in the long term, your revenue.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's great information. And so I will point out that Judy's contact information as well as mine is on the screen. So if you have any questions that you think of afterwards, please reach out to us. And if you have any printing needs, that's Judy's expertise. So please reach out to Pro Printing. They do a wonderful job. And then our next T3 will be for June, the third Thursday in June. And we are bringing in Kimberly Bear, who will actually be a speaker at our 2020 Market Tech. And so be sure to mark your calendars and join us again next month. And then that's all for today. So thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Judy, for the wonderful information you presented and being the presenter. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we will see you next month.
Thanks, Cami.